Squid Games. It's not just brutal survival game, but it's a psychological minefield. Every decision, every betrayal, and every alliance can be explained by real psychological phenomena. Today we are breaking down the mind game behind the bloodbath. Let's go. A short disclaimer. Today's video is going to talk about some phenomena that include brutality, unaliving of a person, and other such issues. And if any of these issues are sensitive to you, please take care of yourself and I will see you in the next video. Today's video is the continuation of our series in which we describe daily life phenomena in the light of psychology. As Squid Game Season 3 just released and people are talking about it, we thought of diving deep into it with a psychological perspective. As a clinical psychologist, I'm here to explain to you why people did what they did. So let's get into it. In Season 1, Ji-hoon, that is player 456, won the games. He had all the money. Why did he return? And why is he trying so hard to save everyone? This is the question that might have pulled up in your mind as well, as we were thinking about it all the time. So let's see why this happened. You would think winning 45 billion won would feel victorious, but Ji-hoon does not smile in the Season 1. He doesn't spend the money. Instead, he's haunted. Why? Survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt occurs when someone survives a traumatic event while others die. In Squid Game, Ji-hoon watches friends like Si-bok and Ali die right in front of him. His win feels more like a loss. His trauma overweighs the prize. Hence, he decides to join the games once again and tries to end it, or at least save as many players as he can. We can see survivor guilt in the player 1 to 5 as well. When his love interest dies right in front of him and he could not do anything, his feeling turns inward into survivor's guilt. This phenomena can also be seen in the soldiers and veterans when they return.
On September the 11th, 2001.
Having seen the towers come down, one of the generals came in and said, "For you guys, your careers have just changed. This
is on Earth. Helmand Province, Afghanistan. A place called Sangin, where the fighting was hard and their training was put to the toughest test."
Remember psychosis being so vivid as to be looking in the mirror and to be seeing the face of the reflected face was not mine. And so still I hate my children having balloons, and I don't go to birthday parties with balloons. I hate Guy Fawkes.
그럼도 마찬가지야. 다리에 맞은 놈 머리에 싸서 확실히 죽였어.
Why did the guards feel so inhuman and sadistic? Why they start stealing organs and why they've lost all emotions? In 1971, the Stanford prison experiment showed how ordinary people could turn sadistic when given power. In Squid Games, masked guards start as silent observers, but some become violent, manipulative, and even predatory. They were placed in a system that gave them anonymity and power. Sound familiar?
The prisoners are booked and stripped nude. They're no longer individuals, forced to wear smocks, stocking caps, and shackles, identified only by their prisoner numbers.
It evolves into a confrontation. The guard showing the prisoners who's boss.
The guards quickly adapt to their new profession.
Absolute
Given
power
anonymity
does
by their
not
mirrored
just corrupt,
sunglasses, some of them
it
start to
dehumanizes. As an observer, as audience, I thought to myself, what a clever move to end the games in such a way that people form bonds and groups and player 222, 456 are born to be killed. Yes, I'm talking about why people form groups in a situation like this. The host knew they will form a group based on similar choices thus far in the games and their characters, which led to group bias, and obvious people will be eliminated. Humans like me and you crave belonging. In Squid Games, players quickly form groups to increase their chances of survival. That's in-group bias, favoring those who seem like us. Hence, all the remaining players see player 456 who has never been like them, who was never shown greed, who was protective over player 222, the new inborn I'm talking about, and the other players as well. They see him as not one of them. And player 222, as she's an infant, as she's a newborn baby, obviously they cannot relate to her as well. So they form an in-group bias against them. And why 125? Well, he was an easy target, and again, he was not thinking radically, one can say, or rationally as they were, according to them. Us versus them is not just a game tactic, it's how we humans are wired.
수지야.
전 지금 제 아이 지키려는 거예요. 도와주세요.
게임이 종료되었습니다.
Shit. Oh, come on, for fuck's sake. Where the hell's the exit? Open doors! Hold on! Open the door!
If wrong is being done to one person, why don't the others help him or her? Why people chime in or join in the brutality or in the killings? Throughout the seasons, Squid Games have shown us mob mentality in many different scenes. When Duk-soo starts killing during the night, most players freeze. They wait for someone else to stop it. That's the bystander effect. Why do people watch as others are killed? The bystander effects make people less likely to help when others are around. But then something shifts. Players start joining the violence, especially when panic hits. Mob mentality takes over. Their individual morality is overpowered by the group behavior. In Squid Games, survival can quickly turn people into monsters.
Yeah, you can vote for either one. Don't worry about anyone else, okay? Just vote however you want.
The games are deadly. It's ridiculous. It's brutal. We're all thinking about it. Why do they keep changing their vote? Why won't they all stand together and end the bloody games? Well, this is because of a phenomenon called the sunk cost fallacy. Continuing a behavior or investment solely because of previously invested resources, for example, time, money, and in this case, efforts, even when it no longer makes sense. Players keep competing despite escalating brutality because they've already suffered so much. Quitting would make their past sacrifices wasteful. This seems rational, doesn't it? People in real world turn to gambling. They have addiction. Still, the more you lose, the harder it is to walk away. For example, when you see a person staying in a very bad relationship and you keep questioning yourself, why don't they just break up? The relationship is toxic, it's hurting them clearly and obviously, but they stay. That is because of sunk cost fallacy. As an observer, as an audience, you always wonder, why are they so willing to sacrifice people? Just like in the final games of the final season, they are willing to sacrifice 3 people to save the other people. Well, the trolley problem is a classic ethical thought experiment that forces a choice between 2 morally difficult options. Now let's look at the experiment. A runway trolley is speeding toward 5 people tied on the tracks. You stand next to a lever that can switch the trolley onto a second track. But there is 1 person tied up there. Do you pull the lever, killing 1 to save 5, or do nothing and leave the 5 to die? Kill 1 to save 5. The classic trolley problem plays out again and again.
Move. I'm sorry. I don't want to do this either.
Player 125 eliminated.
Morality does not exist in the games, only survival. Despite the horrors, many players start showing excitement for the votes when they go for continuation of the games. They start showing loyalty towards the game, sometimes even the staff. This is classical example of Stockholm Syndrome, a psychological response where hostages develop affection or sympathy for their captors. It's a survival tactic. And in Squid Games, it blurs the line between consent and coercion.
Was the arrest of these 2. Well,
were you on a hit list of some kind?
I was on a list. And actually the FBI, when they raided a safe house, found the list, knew about it, had everybody's name who was on the list, and they didn't contact a single person and tell them anything.
So what sort of people were on the list? Were they all rich kids?
List. Oh no, it was more than a list. One was Susan Ford.
Sometimes the mind betrays itself to cope. Why did players so strong, seemingly so strong, and always being supportive at the end kill themselves? Why did player 222 or 149 kill themselves? After repeated losses, abuse, and or punishment, people stop trying. It's called learned helplessness. When people believe that they don't stand a chance. When hope is crushed many times, the mind stops fighting back. Why does player 125 finally decides to take the drugs? And why is he seeing dead people around him all the time? Season 3 introduces hard escapes. Player 125 turns to drugs to numb the pain, just like real life trauma survivors. Addiction is not just about pleasure, it's about avoiding reality. They were not showing that the drugs are giving him courage. Rather, It was blurring the line between confusion, guilt, avoidance, and reality. Imagine a player so broken that they'd rather hallucinate than face the games. But in Squid Games, as there is no escape, even in your mind, the player turns to anything that they can hold on to.
사람은
Squid Games is just not fiction. It's a dark mirror of real psychology. These psychological phenomena are not rare. They are part of us. And one classic example is the real life incident. Sadly, there is likely to be a similar incident in Japan, where Tokyo officials cleared homeless encampments, cleaning up the city's image. What happened next is very nicely explained on the channel Rotten Mango. I will pin the link in the description below. Under pressure, under fear, under system rigged against us, we all play games. Question is, what would you do in these games? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to not miss any opportunity to watch the next video. I hope you're having a great day. Take care.